Limbus company community. This video is for you guys. I will be playing this game, but apparently this is a video that is going to convince me even more to play Limbus Company. So let's take a look at this. Why aren't more people talking about Limbus Company? I don't know. Why?
Limbus Company.
This is by Questashul, by the way.
You are better than a well-beloved because... wait.
What?
Do you hear that?
Yes, what is that?
Sounds like... Oh, God.
Is it the Florida Project Moon people? Yet. Jesus. Huh? The problem with Limbus Company, is it going to be that there's not one?
I've only recently been indoctrinated into the cult of Project Moon, thanks to a little game known as Limbus Company. That has since extended to Library of Ruina and as much of Lobotomy Corporation as my mental can handle, because what the fuck even is going on at this point? For the last 6 or so months, it's no exaggeration to say that I've fallen in love with these games. The world, the story, the characters, and...
The characters do look goated, by the way. It's one of my biggest, reasons for even wanting to delve into the game. Other than people hyping up the story to know tomorrow. It's insane.
The overall feeling of having a gacha game elicit actual emotion out of me. Something other gacha games could only wish they could do.
Damn.
The world is lived in, dark, sick, and bereft of human righteousness. The characters are their own, capable of growth that persists and never truly feel cast to the wayside. The main character is not overtly a self-insert, experiences their own growth, and has their own massive flaws that matter, and isn't treated as a hyper-competent do-it-all that everyone revolves around. I like how I'm not treated as though I'm an imbecile needing to understand bosses or get a grasp on unit kit synergies. I like the...
But listen, if there's one thing that terrifies me about this goddamn game, it is not the dude who has a clock as a head. It's the combat system, bro. This shit looks so confusing. I probably will be one of those people that just spam that one button, the win button, the win button, the win button. I'll just spam it, dude, until I can't anymore, and then I'll learn about the combat. Is that a way to play it, or should I just pay attention from the beginning? Let me know.
Team building, I like the constant curiosity the dialogue breeds. I like how the universe's concepts are easy to understand and not bogged down by a bad case of now-nitis. But most of all, I like how the gacha game doesn't really feel like a gacha game.
Wait, how? How does the gacha game not feel like a gacha game? You still pull for characters, right? With paid currency.
Between all those thoughts, I can't help but wonder why more people aren't talking about Limbus Company.
Okay.
Project Moon is a relatively small indie game company based in South Korea, consisting of around 50 employees. Their repertoire consists of Hell on Earth, Peak Cinema, and the worst of the three, apparently. It's not hard to get the idea that they really came from nothing, as it were, with Lobotomy Corporation looking like it had the budget of 5 cents in a bowl of lint, which was kind of the case because it was
honestly, dude, I kind of dig this aesthetic, though. Am I crazy for that? I kind of dig this aesthetic.
Originally a failed Kickstarter game. Lobotomy Corp was marketed as an SCP-inspired monster management simulator, garnering around $3.3 thousand of the initially proposed $40,000 goal with its small demo. And for most people, well, that'd be that. No funding means no development, which should have meant no game.
But did they just make a $3,000 game?
My cute CEO, Kim Ji-hoon, said no, I don't think that's the case, and ended up tirelessly working with the feedback given to them, incorporating the limitations put forward by the game engine and lacking art assets into the story itself.
Wait, what a legend, bro. My God.
There was at least a reason for it. What the game lacked in visual interface ingenuity, they made up for with gameplay and story ingenuity. Kim Ji-hoon.
Yeah, that looked pretty fun, actually. What game was that? That's not Limbus, right? Is that Lobotomy Corp?
Boone and his buddies from the anime club would make this game Kickstarter be damned.
Okay.
Make it a steaming pile of dog shit. Because for all the violet midnights and low-key softlock abnormality combinations you can unfortunately stumble upon, Lobotomy Corporation was a wonderfully thought-out game that introduces the beloved concepts of the PM-verse and spurred on the creation of Project Moon's other, more well-crafted titles.
Okay, so it was a means to an end? Is that what it basically was? Was this basically, guys, in layman's terms, was Lobotomy Corp basically and this is going to sound crazy, hey, Hoyoverse fans, do not come at me for this. I'm literally just trying to come up with an actual comparison. Is it the Honkai Impact 3rd of Hoyoverse? Is it the game that was made that a lot of people loved, but it was a smaller fan base, so it didn't make as much money, and then Limbus Company came out, the Genshin, and that became the next big thing? More like a Gun Girl Z. Oh, even before that. Okay, so it was the start of it all then. Okay, interesting. Good to know.
Concepts like the setting of the city, a complete dystopia lacking in humanity, or perhaps is poisoned by it. After all, only those deemed human may preside within its walls. It's like Disneyland for psychopaths.
That sounds great.
Sociopaths and empaths, capitalists, nihilists, cannibals, and fucking clowns. One hell of a...
Other than the clowns, it sounds great.
Place to take up the art of comedy. But Lobotomy Corporation plants the seed, pun intended, that even in a place as utterly wretched as this, hope can be just around the corner, grown within the very people that seem so clearly woeful. And goddamn did that game sell. The tagline of an SCP
Jet the guy played Lobotomy Corp?
management game really worked wonders, turning some pretty large heads around. And I can't even really name another game that has that same premise. Does My Singing Monsters count? Also, don't play the game unless you hate yourself. It's like 150 hours of pure unadulterated pain.
Wait, actually, is it because it's super difficult, I guess?
Direct sequel to Lobotomy Corporation, Library of Ruina, was an excuse to develop the strongest part of the previous title, the world itself. It very much helps that the main protagonists are a clueless sentient robot who wishes to learn more about the city, and a denizen of the city who knows its ins and outs perhaps a little too intimately. Its gameplay loop, a deck-building, turn-based RPG.
Ah, so the gameplay loop looks pretty similar to Limbus Company, right? Pretty similar. Not exactly the same, but it gives me the exact same vibes.
G-system with some RNG sprinkled in allowed for a multifaceted experience many people loved.
Okay. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus.
Loved so much they made it the monetization model of their next game, but we'll get to that. Library of Ruina wasn't as popular as Lobotomy Corporation, despite it being a massive step up for the company. That's not to say it didn't do well, it did. Simply the premise wasn't as immediately interesting as something so clearly as inspired as its predecessor. People who played the game more than likely came from Lobotomy Corp wanting to learn more about the universe and the characters.
But did this game do pretty well? Did it get like quite a large fan base, player base?
So the music, Jesus, don't get me started. From the floor themes to any Millie song, I'm sure you've heard something from this game before without realizing it. This too.
Also, who is Millie, or what is Millie? I keep hearing people say listen to Millie songs from Limbus Company, and I don't know what that means.
For 2 record when it came to games would soon become 3 for 3 with the release of Limbus Company
Millie
in 2023.
Interesting. Oh, it's the
maybe
artist.
Not immediately. The game had very obvious problems from the get-go, most notably of which was the fact that it was gacha. Ugh, the word causes a deep stirring in my loins.
Yeah, people hear gacha and they're like, not again. Oh my God, this is the guy that got divorced over Genshin Impact. Jesus
If you've been paying attention, you'll have noticed that Project Moon was known for its story-driven single-player games. Not gacha. There is a difference.
Jesus Christ. Why was bro shirtless?
When the factorial slop of gacha is so prevalent with its countless little practices made to waste both your time and your money, the caution the fanbase had towards Project Moon's new game was warranted. But it was all ultimately for naught, because this game managed to take the things that made all the previous games so good and packaged it into a simple enough format to be enjoyed by the casual audience that preside within this precarious genre.
And fantastic, bro. I feel like that's what a lot of gacha games are doing nowadays in general, but instead of taking it from their own games, they take it from every other game they can find, right? They pick the best parts of this game and the best parts of that game and then make an even better game altogether, right? I feel like a lot of games have done that, and it's pretty damn fucking cool, and I like it when games do that, take a lot of inspiration from around the gacha space and just gaming space in general.
If you play the game for longer than an hour, you realize very quickly that Project Moon loves you. Yes, you heard me. Kim Ji-hoon specifically thanks you for playing Limbus Company.
You're so welcome. When I actually play it, you're very welcome. I will take you out for dinner.
Glory be to Limbus Company, glory be to Project Moon, and in the words of our cute CEO himself, may he attain wealth and fame almighty. And if you can't tell, that's at least how it feels to be part of the community of this game at times. We want it to succeed, we want people to play it, and we want it to get even bigger and even better with every update that cycles through.
I swear I've heard this before.
That's at least how it feels to be part of the community of this game at times. We want it to succeed, we want people to play it, and we want it to get even bigger and...
It sounds like a cult. Oh, at the very entry level, like a religion, right? Is Project Moon a religion now?
Even better with every update that cycles through. Can it be predatory? Sure. Is it overtly predatory? No, I would say not at all. In fact, I would go so far as to say that despite Project Moon's motto being this big, bold, almost laughably authentic view of the CEO's vision, they really don't know how to make money. And the times with...
Wait, what does that mean? Wait, are they super generous?
They do try to drain your wallets. They outright say it. For the anime, for the 3D action RPG, I give my wallet unto you, my cute CEO.
Are they actually making an anime?
Power creep? Yeah, sure. But the units are so easy to get, whether by the decent rates or simply by...
1.3? Is that for... Wait. Oh, individual rate 0.05. Ew. But that's for like a 5-star, right? The best. 1.3% for a general 5-star is pretty fucking cool. Pretty cool.
By farming the repeatable roguelike mode mirror dungeons that you're able to basically get any character you want in
2.9%. Wait, huh?
The game for free. No RNG reliant time-gated artifact system, no smorgasbord mishmash of collectibles, no going to pity every single time, and a story that is good. Amazing.
You can grind units in this game, any character you want besides limited ones. Oh, I get it now. That's kind of insane.
In fact,
what the fuck?
Absolute.
Is that the actual voice? Is there English VO in this game?
Goddamn cinema. And this is why I made the distinction between a gacha game and a single-player game. Because while many bigger gacha games can suffer from character irrelevance, convoluted nouns you need to remember, bloated dialogue, and in-your-face unit shilling, Limbus Company draws from its roots as a narrative-driven experience and provides you simply with an excellent story-based game. There are levels to this,
Good
right?
stuff.
To combat character irrelevance, the main cast consists of 12 sinners, including the main character.
Sinners!
Their guide, Dundee. I mean, Virgilius, and his weird monochrome adopted daughter, Charon. I think she's autistic. Also, she drives the Limbus and is my favorite character. You pull for versions of these characters from alternate universes, and each sinner remains a mainstay in every bit of story that you get. When it comes to nounitis, which, if you aren't familiar, is a common problem in original fictional worlds, normally diagnosed in Harry Potter notebooks of overzealous 15-year-olds who think making fake words that sound cool equals good world building.
Sounds like Twitter, bro.
Books of overzealous 15-year-olds who think making fake words that sound cool equals good world building.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not talking from personal experience.
Yeah, okay,
Seriously,
bro.
I was always more of an Undertale kid. In fact, to prove this, let me give you a rundown of the setting in under a minute.
Okay.
People live in the city. Non-people live outside in the outskirts. Districts compose the city, which are all named after a letter. Each district contains a nest, which is the city proper, and the back streets, which are the slums. Each nest has a wing, which is a mega corporation that supports the city as a whole with its unique technology called a singularity. The leading body of the city is known as the head, which is comprised of districts A, B, and C, no relation. Nobody really knows anything about them. You're not supposed to. People can hire certain others to fix their problems, called fixers. Fixers can be part of offices, which are individually owned businesses, or associations, which are massive-scale companies in their own right, of which there are 12, all named after a number. Fixers themselves are also graded by numbers, going from grade 9 to grade 1, with only the most legendary fixers being awarded a color, of which there can only be one per color at any given time. Also, abnormalities are monsters extracted from the mind, which were invented by L-Corp. Distortions are people who turn into monsters because of their feelings, which was also L-Corp's fault, with ego being the result of preventing your own distortion through sheer force of will. There's also another type extracted from abnormalities, taking on their properties instead of being unique to you. These concepts are all kind of linked. And time! How'd I do? I wrote that not knowing how long it'd take to say it also.
That's insane. Jesus Christ. I was actually paying attention as well. That's a very quick rundown of the fucking world of Limbus Company. Jesus.
Oh, that's pretty good. Hopefully you got all that. And if you still think that's confusing, I challenge you to do the same with your favorite gacha game and still make it comprehensive.
So Genshin, and then she pushes a hole in the fake sky, and Renova and all the shades are literally right there, bro. And honestly, other than that, that's pretty much everything, and we're pretty caught up. Oh, I'm buffering. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It happens every now and then where the internet kind of screws up a little bit. That's my bad. Just go back in the VOD later, and you'll be able to see it. What
Limbus does is make all the keywords commonly used ones, so you can intuit their meaning and form a proper mental connection between the word and the position in the setting. The physical world makes use of bird imagery and letters. The human system works on numbers and colors. Not foolproof, but you get what I mean. The worst
numbers and colors is something us Genshin players are pretty used to now, right?
Gets is with Lobotomy Corporation with things like enkephalin and Kagito, various other SCP-style jargon, but that's isolated over there and doesn't much affect Limbus. Sick. Units also don't need to be shilled for the same reason there isn't character irrelevance. Units you pull for will be tied to the—
Whoa, these characters look sick, dude. Oh my god. The fucking girl in the middle with the fucking— I don't even know if that's a red dress or if it's just stained with blood, but with the Plague Doctor skull mask, dude, that is insane.
The main cast through their ID. See what I mean about keywords? Meaning there'll never be a character that seems to only be in the story so that the company can make you pay for them. Rather, the character from the story just so happens to be one you can pay for.
Okay.
Bloated. The dialogue character from the story just so happens to be one you can pay for.
Unless you're a certain farmer who PM refuses to make an ID for. Oh, interesting.
Dialogue, well, it depends on your definition. If we're talking about Kanto 4, I mean, and I'll get into this in my next section where I talk about why I think this game probably isn't as big as it deserves.
Okay.
Is the dialogue bloated? No. It flows like a conversation. Characters stay true to their development or current temperament.
Wait, the storytelling is actually pretty good? Is that right?
Character interactions are through the wazoo, but there is quite a lot of it. Is it needed? I'd say so, yeah, but I know many a person who'd rather—
It's literally all world building and character development.
It wasn't so verbose or lengthy at times. For example, Kanto 8 is probably the longest Kanto released so far, surpassing that of Kanto
104,000 letters, not words? Okay.
4 easily, yet I don't feel—
Does she know that she has like a blood spike coming out of her guts? Him? Does he know he's got a blood spike coming out of his gun?
Feel as though it's as long, you know? Especially when you're doing that dungeon in the middle. That whole section was absolutely amazing. It felt like the end of the canto itself, despite us only being halfway through. I believe Limbus Company.
This is the one thing that is making me want to load up Limbus Company literally right now and play it, by the way. People keep telling me just how good the story and the lore and the storytelling is in this game.
He does gacha the right way. Yes, it's a gacha to make money. Yes, it's a little predatory, but at its heart, it's a video game. It's an experience. True. It's a story. And that comes before the attempts Project Moon makes to rake in the dollars. You can say whatever you want about companies being all inherently evil, but at the very least, when one is authentic and honest, it breeds a kind of respect almost equivalent to loyalty. Because that's what it feels as though Project Moon, the indie video game company, wants, not your wallet. And nothing is more authentic than going live.
That sounds pretty great to me, but I guarantee you they still want your money. So if you want to support a gacha game that doesn't feel like a gacha game because they are so generous and don't make you spend a shit ton of money, feel free. That's a better game to spend on, in my opinion.
The CEO of your company with your VTuber model, playing your own roguelike mode, and feeding your most hated unit to the...
I'm sorry, did I just what?
Video game company wants, not your wallet. And nothing is more authentic than going live as the CEO of your company with your VTuber model, playing...
With your VTuber, what?
Your own roguelike mode and feeding your most hated unit to the man-eating Christmas goblins because you regret making him so strong. With all my praise out of the way, I think it's about time I talk about the game's shortcomings, at least when it comes to general popularity and widespread appeal. While I'm very much...
Okay, so Limbus does have problems, apparently. That's news to me, bro. Everybody's been hyping this shit up like no tomorrow. What are the problems with Limbus?
PM is much more than Limbus Company. It's their most profitable investment, so I'm going to keep the scope limited to that game, if you'll forgive me. I'll keep it simple. Limbus Company doesn't turn heads, for the same reason that Library of Ruina didn't turn heads. Despite it being low-key inspired by famous pieces of literature, let's be real, nobody gives an absolute flying fuck about Wuthering Heights, Moby Dick, Crime and Punishment, Damien. What? This is just...
Yeah, I don't even know what Damien is.
Gay erotica. Oh, wait, that's the Wattpad version. Apparently the real one's not so far off. LobCorp was SCP-inspired, tapping into the immense online presence of the SCP Foundation's community.
I've never played an SCP game, by the way. I get recommended to all the time. I've just never done it. Should I?
Be the die-hard fans and cult following, or the general knowers, as it were. Limbus Company doesn't have that privilege. Well, unless you count on your fingers the members of Inan's book club. Further expanding on that, the general aesthetic of the game isn't one you'd typically call attractive. Perhaps to a certain audience, you know, but it's not like I'd call Darkest Dungeon, Fear and Hunger, and Wizardry attractive. In contrast...
Bro, Wizardry looks so fun. Oh my god, we have a video coming out about that tomorrow, I want to say.
It's a saturated, colorful worlds of other games filled to the brim with glitter, lights, and rainbows. The only set of colors you'll see in Limbus Company are whatever a person's guts look like as they splatter all over your screen. Much like the setting, the aesthetic is drab and depressing. Grays, whites, and black overpower much of the scenery, and where it doesn't, sterile whites in areas like the nests contribute to the powerful dystopian nature of a divided populace united only in the ways of making one another suffer.
That sounds
and
pretty
if we're
great
talking about how things look, I can pivot over to the gacha game equivalent of jingling keys in front of your face. Fan service. Limbus?
Wait, Limbus has fans? No. Oh, they're going to probably say Limbus doesn't have fan service, which is why it doesn't appeal to a lot of people.
It has practically zero. In the sexual sense, at least. There's actually a lot of fan service. As in, if you're a fan of the studio's works, you'll like a lot of the plot lines brought up in the game, but...
That sounds great to me, bro.
Limbus Company isn't exactly the type of video game you'd call Guna fuel.
Fine by me.
I hate that word. Fuck you, Game Grumps. Season 5.
I mean, I'm in my Guna arc, but I can still appreciate non-Guna elements, obviously.
Perhaps gave us the more risque IDs in the series in Princess Roger and Kurokoma Ishmael.
She looked cool, bro.
Probably bit. Despite having adult themes, Project Moon doesn't really divulge in anything sexually explicit, or even really utilize sex appeal in any way. The main method of dress for all denizens...
Damn! This person looks sick! Oh, I love that design.
To the city is some form of suit, after all.
Is that a fucking sword cane?
That's not a bad thing, not really, but when you consider the genre in which Limbus Company has planted its feet in, you can get an idea of why it's kind of negative in some way.
You could have put a better image than Zani here, gonna keep it a buck.
Guna fuel makes our hamster ball turn, and in the
there we go.
absence of it, less people flock inward to keep it
there
low.
We go.
Commonly, the idea of sexy equals bad because popular is used. Well, there's no sexy here. You want to come in and try this out? No?
Yes.
Yeah,
oh.
That's what I thought. Sex sells. Limbus, arguably, doesn't. Without it, less people are drawn in unless they have prior knowledge of the universe or game. And even when the odd straggler finds their way in, the sheer walls of text you must endeavor do have a habit of making them turn right back around. When your average gacha game might look like this can be a...
That is very overwhelming to me, personally. Although I will say, even in combat systems that get overwhelming quickly, I'm still happy to take my time and actually learn it. Look at Expedition 33. It overwhelmed me a little bit, but they also introduced things slowly enough for me to get used to it, so...
Little overwhelming. Boxes of text flying around faster than a crackhead on a fix, coins ding-a-ling-linging, and Wild Hunt Heathcliff cackling like he knows what your search history looks like. Are we sure we're not playing Lobotomy Corporate? I'm sure. What are these things on the bottom? Why are there so many arrows flying around?
Yeah, the arrows are so confusing, bro.
What do all these statuses mean? God, reading? In my story-driven gacha game? Blah. Project Moon has never made that game super intuitive, let's say. They've always had problems with things being more complicated than they make it out to be, putting emphasis on the wrong things, or outright not explaining particular mechanics. Could you believe I didn't know how to offset guards until halfway through Canto 4?
I don't know what that means, but at least now I know that I can offset guards.
Answer is yes, you probably could if you know what the tutorial is like, because they make it seem more...
Oh, they redid the tutorial, so now it's a lot easier to understand the mechanics. That's pretty cool.
Like Candy Crush and anything else. Seriously,
shows that they're listening to the players,
for like
right?
2 teams the entire game. Speaking truthfully, the game is about as hard as it looks, but not as difficult as you think. By that...
Wait, what does that mean?
I mean, you just have to read.
Oh, man. I don't want to read. I'm kidding, by the way, if you couldn't tell.
Maybe a bit of mental maths for Clash Power if you're feeling up to it. Or just watch these videos by SGU. But if we're at that point, then yes, there probably is a reason why the game is considered a little overwhelming to new players. I will say, people overblow the difficulty of this game to an elitist level at times, but a basic understanding of how clashing and speed works is all it takes to clear the content of the story. Speaking of the story, let's touch on that. It's long. Not as
long story?
Long as, say, Arknights. I think that story's well surpassed the length of the fucking Bible. Hell, I wouldn't even call this story lengthy in general, but it may feel that way because it's not 3D. It doesn't have animations you aren't going around
If the storytelling is good, that doesn't mean shit to me, bro.
Talking to NPCs, you are playing a visual novel with combat nodes in the place of choices. What gets you through that is the interest hopefully bred through the concept of the universe and a connection to the characters and the will to see their stories and development. It does suffer a little from the gacha game curse of only getting good halfway in, but it hardly...
Now, I will say, guys, that sentence really sucks. I can understand it, but I really struggle to want to play like 30 hours of gameplay to get to 30 hours of good gameplay. Or 30 hours of mediocre story to get to 30 hours of good story, you know? I'm gonna try it out, so I'll be the judge of that.
Takes any time relatively. Canto 1 suffers from being the first Canto and so needs to establish character dynamics, villains, stakes, etc. Canto 2 suffers because the main focus character doesn't really resolve anything by the end of it, and Canto 3 is where the game really hits its stride and finds its formula. The sinner must wholly confront their past, face their trauma, and realize themselves by the end of it. If you're a Project Moon fan, you know that this is a recipe for success. Canto 4 is long, wordy, but emotional. Canto 5 is hate-filled, aggressive, but hopeful. Canto 6 fine diddly-do, it is a little disheartening. And perhaps greater than all those points is this one. Project Moon has no representation in the West. Now, let me...
As in... marketing in the West?
Correct myself. There is representation in the West, just not conventional representation. I'll get to it. Have you ever seen a Limbus company ad? A Limbus company sponsor? Maybe once, if you're lucky, like a whisper in the wind. Marketing, apparently, isn't Project Moon's strong suit. That much is clear if you ask a casual gacha player if they know what Limbus company is. I'd give it like a 30-70 shot. This isn't a...
Yeah, the only reason a lot of people that I know have heard of Limbus company is because other people have told them about it, not because they've seen ads and stuff.
Comparison, but I'm gonna make it anyway. I've seen Ju Yuen's ass enough times on my desktop to make me fear what Google thinks of me as a person.
Understandable.
I've seen Faust. Actually, I haven't, because they don't do ads. Not
who is that?
Not only that, but Limbus is only in Korean. No English dub.
That is also, I'll keep it a buck here, and this is a me problem. I take in information a lot better by listening to it rather than reading it. That includes reading it out loud. So when a game doesn't have an English dub, it puts me off a bit because I know I have to read everything typically out loud because I also make content on it. So I want people to be able to watch the streams or watch the YouTube videos while not paying full attention as well, you know? So it does put me off a little bit, but I'm still happy to give it a go because if it's that good, then it's just worth reading.
People don't want to play it because it's in Korean and only in Korean. I know this because it's the reason I originally didn't play the game.
Okay.
And while it's not an issue for me anymore, I love the Korean voice acting actually. Anime adjacents will have a harder time integrating themselves, which...
Do you mind when the story have a stamina or resin to continue? That's the only problem when I played Limbus for the first time. So I am kind of 50-50 on it, and I'll explain why. When a game requires you to spend your resin to continue in the story, I think it's number one, a really annoying thing, because if the story really is that good, I don't want to wait to be able to play it. However, if the story is that good, it's probably a good thing to cut you off after a while, because I would play the game for like 12 hours and I'd overplay it to a point where I don't want to pick it up again the next day. I'm kind of here nor there with it.
Let's be real, are the main audience for gacha games. Project Moon doesn't push for this game for whatever reason. I wholeheartedly believe Limbus can be the gacha game. Like how Genshin or HSR is the biggest. Like how ZZZ is the goonest. It's hardly predatory.
Well, I wouldn't say goonist, but it is definitely got Guna elements.
Offers probably the most interesting setting in all of gachas, period, and feels unique in its themes and storytelling.
It does seem incredibly unique.
However, with the lack of pushing, it remains under the Wuthering Waves.
Stamina isn't anywhere near as bad as it is in Hoyo games. You don't need to use stamina for story in Hoyo games. At least, I mean, you do in Honkai Impact 3rd, I guess, but it wasn't bad at all in Honkai Impact 3rd.
Literally, a hidden gem on the cusp of being revealed. But this lack of clear representation has found a crack in the wall, a glitch in the system. One could say a hidden pipeline. The Roblox to Limbus company pipeline is a very real thing. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
Roblox is a site where players
Is this a sponsor?
create their own games for other players to enjoy. Marketed more so towards kids, it's a platform powered by the players, sort of like Steam or Itch.io with a more personal twist and many more limitations. And Garoom, allow me to emphasize for effect. This is a platform where users are entirely responsible for other users' experiences. Despite Roblox being primarily for children, there exists many a community of older Roblox players who've cultivated a fair few games for a more developed audience. Roleplay groups with your favorite anime, show, or interest. Closed community games that require
Bro, I ain't gonna cat. Roblox look kind of cool.
You to know a guy who knows a guy, so you get to be a grunt in another
The idea of Roblox is cool.
person's story. Complex games, complete with high-octane parry-based fighting, complex deck building, and permadeath mechanics, with whole server-wide PvP wars that destroy your bandwidth to top it all off. All this
How does this connect to Limbus?
to say, Project Moon, a studio for a more mature audience, somehow wormed its way into these communities through the odd fan or two. It started maybe with a few tongue-in-cheek references in a game. It grew to adding weapons from Lobotomy Corporation or Library of Ruina in another. Then another, maybe in a game less serious for a younger audience. Then another, maybe a whole character or two this time. Multiple iterations of the same thing repeated, like IDs from Mirror World spreading further and further, at times being added simply because these...
Yes, I'm a Project Moon fan. Yes, I haven't played any of the games. Yes, I only know about the game because of Roblox. Yes, I goon to Utis and call her... What the hell? Yes, the only LOR characters I know are Gibber and Roland. Yes, I constantly call Don Quixote as... Yes, I don't even know that Lobotomy Corp exists. What the fuck is going on, man?
Things were rad rather than because they liked the source material. At this point, one might ask, why not make a game? Well, they did. Limbus game, a battleground where you can fight others as...
Guys, isn't that Farina? That's not Limbus.
style RPG taking place in the city where you can challenge the library, join an association, make an...
You're in the wrong game.
office, realize your own ego, much like the characters from the games it was based on. People thought, oh, this is cool, I wonder where it's from. And before you knew it, Project Moon had somehow grown to be represented in Roblox, of all places. Sakura Stand, Illusions, Item Asylum, Forsaken, a Dead by Daylight style game and one of the most popular on the platform with over 150 concurrents. Has a skin based on a character from Limbus.
Oh, that's so cool. That's great for the game, considering the marketing is not that good in the West, right?
Using a remix of Millie's track. And if the designs weren't enough to make people think it was cool, then the music sure as hell did.
Scream if you love Millie.
It cannot be understated how much influence this kind of representation has had on Limbus Company's popularity.
Amazing.
And I know this because I found out about Limbus again from Roblox. Yes, I'm a grown man who still plays Roblox.
Oh no. Should I play Roblox, guys?
Get over it. We all do if you grew up at a certain age.
I've never even like downloaded Roblox ever. I've never seen Roblox other than like on somebody else's stream in my life.
It was cool. And if you paid attention to what I was saying before, you'll know that is enough. Such representation, however, is a double-edged sword. Obviously. Kids ruin everything. Fandoms,
True, dude. Oh my god, so fucking true.
communities, games, marriages. They're dumb, easily influenced, unfunny, and most of all, act like they know things they don't. But
Yep.
it's the hand the community was dealt. It didn't help that the Project Moon universe caters to the lowest common denominator, aka power scalers with the very existence of fixes. But as I said earlier, the keywords are easy to understand and the concepts are grim. That is interesting at a base level. The trickle-down effect of an intended audience combined with a bit of reproduction and a very lucky inclusion and subsequent boom of a game on a children's platform has
Not gonna cap, guys. Okay,
allowed
I'm gonna
Limbus
let it
Company
play.
to be contracted with a very severe case of BAFPOMS, baby's first problematic piece of media syndrome. There, we'll workshop it. Thus, the
there'll be more.
gatekeeping began, the community became more obnoxious, which, let's be real, you all were already, and a bad rep started to be guarded. We were, after all, refugees from...
Is the overarching Limbus Company community considered good or bad, I wonder?
Roblox. Not
I
the
know
greatest
nothing.
tag, I'll say. At least
The people that have commented on my videos and stuff from the Limbus Company have been nothing but kind.
the memes got better. And yet, despite this double-edged sword, I could never really condemn my brethren because, in the end, we were what the community needed.
Okay.
We were the glue. No, we were the representation. Word of mouth.
Fair.
Younger fans, like it or not, are more zealous. They make for good cult material, perhaps to a detriment at times, but if Project Moon wasn't going to go the full 9 yards for their game,
Yeah, they're
these
just
ones
huge
sure
shills
will.
of the game.
They'll
Fair.
badger, they'll annoy, they'll backseat, they'll nitpick, they'll wrongly quote, they'll shill this.
You think they're like lurkers? They appear when they're mentioned? Yeah, they're apparently called sleeper agents, right?
Game, and I'm pretty sure half of them have never even played it. Should they even know about the game in the first place? Well, you know,
Yeah.
but how are we going to stop them? And that's sort of what I want to get at. Attention is only good for the community. I talked about sponsors.
True.
Well, Project Moon actually did sponsor someone. Shirakami Fubuki from Hololive. Yes,
Ah.
that one. In terms of representation, popular VTubers like Himemiya Rei and to a lesser extent Tenma Miami are stalwart bastions for the Project Moon games.
God
Fulfilling
damn,
the facade
dude.
of a pixelated visage, Lakari, notorious Blue Archive fan, played through all of Lobotomy Corporation, God rest his soul, and Library of Ruina to upwards of 2,000 concurrent. Genazad played all the way through to Kanto
Hey, Genazad,
7
man.
as writing this
I like
video to
Genazad.
nearly the same amount, and hate him or absolutely despise him, Tectone, the bold, angry Genshin demon from the year 2021. Punished all
Fucking all the all the people on Twitter watching this. Satan!
all Limbus Company fans with his presence as he rose from hell to face us. Thank God he only played until Kanto 4. And I'll say it again, this is only good for the growth of the community, to get the global recognition I feel like we all think it deserves.
Yeah. Fair, bro.
I recall
Fair.
the second anniversary when I first revised this script, and I remember feeling disappointed. There was no massive marketing push, there was no big banner to bring people in, just two pretty cool IDs and a billboard in Akihabara. It's clear that Kim Ji-hoon cares a lot about the people who like his games and his universe. From their humble start to the multiple times where he feels as
Understandable,
though
bro.
he's let down his community, stemming from as early as the translator scam incident from LobCorp. He seems to want to take things slow and easy now. He cares so much that it even negatively affects Limbus Company, backtracking on a much-needed nerf to an ID that the testing team sloppily allowed to deal 400 single-target true damage minimum per turn. Unprecedented. Even
I mean, that sounds pretty good to me, right?
when the compensation was full refunds to anyone who spent on the banner, 1.5 IDs of your choosing, a guaranteed 3
I discovered Limbus through Tectone, and now it's my favorite gacha. Yo, be careful, bro. You said his name once, twice more, he might appear in your mirror. I've heard some crazy things on Twitter. It's insane.
a 10-pull ticket, and you got to keep the unit. He still backtracked when people outraged. He apologized profusely, despite these units in this game costing infinitely less comparative to games like Genshin or Wuwa, because I guess even the game that still puts the story first will be treated as a gacha at the end of the day. People saw it as him going back on his word to the community with regard to the Ring Sang nerfs, another OP unit from the start of the game, and he prioritized that bond with his fans over the health of the game itself.
Good shit,
Mouse
dude.
truly thrust into the light
Seems like a very good developer.
that Project Moon's biggest strength and their biggest curse are their fans.
Yeah.
Even so,
As is with every game, to be fair.
we as fans still want to see this game grow and succeed. If Project Moon wants to take it slow with marketing and publicity and everything else, well, the people will take it into their own hands, on accident or otherwise, even if it garners a certain label at this point. And it is growing. It's about twice as popular as when I first drafted this script in early January.
Holy shit, good stuff, dude.
But one does have to wonder what that means for the future of the game. Much like the message of their games, it is now up to the people.
The more fame your game garners, the more fucked up the community will be, because the loud minority gets bigger.
And it is up to us to help them bloom.
Yep. True. GG, bro. That was
this video.
Bye-bye. Good video, man. Good video. This is definitely made me want to try out the game more. Give me like maximum until the end of July. Honestly, I think I can probably get to trying it out within the next 2 weeks.